What's up everyone, your Batapesh Kumar here, and this is the ultimate guide to becoming a pilot from abroad. If you guys want to know how to become a pilot in India, if you want to do your flying in India, the link is gonna be up here. Check that out. It's an older video. This is a continuation to that, and today I'll be telling you guys how to become a pilot from abroad in the best way, the most economical way, and also the fastest way. But before we continue, the giveaway is still on. So I still have these 3 speakers by Zap. I told you guys about this in the last video, but वो last वाली video मेरे को हटानी पड़ी because of some reasons. But I'm still giving away these speakers, and if you guys want them, just watch this video. I'll tell you guys somewhere in the middle on how you can get them. You basically have to follow me on Instagram, and then there'll be a quiz. If you win the quiz, I'll be posting you guys these speakers. But more on that later on. As of now, let's get started with the ultimate guide to becoming a pilot from abroad. So the basic requirements for becoming a pilot, either India or abroad, are still the same, because at the end of it you get an Indian license. So that Indian license, which is issued by DGCA, will always have the same requirements. So your basic requirements are still class 12 pass with maths and physics. All the other requirements are again up there. Link should be coming up here again. Check that out. That video has complete detail on what all requirements are there to become a pilot. Today I'm going to be continuing forward, assuming that you have met all of those requirements. So you're done with class 12th or your engineering or your graduation or anything, and you are absolutely ready to be a pilot. So as always, the first thing is to get your class 2 medical done. That is the most important thing before you do anything else. Class 2 medical list, again, link in the description. Check that out. That list will have all the doctors. You can contact those doctors, you can get your appointment and have your class 2 medical done. Once you've cleared your class 2 medical, the next step is to apply for a class 1 medical. Now class 1 medical takes time, and as of now they're not even doing them because of corona and stuff. So you can still apply for your class 1 medical as and when they start. In the meantime, what you need to do is clear your DGCA exams. Now DGCA exams, if you're going to fly abroad, are slightly different. If you're flying from abroad, you only have to clear 3 exams in India, which is navigation, meteorology and regulations. These 3 exams are to be cleared to get your Indian DGCA license. Now there are 2 options to clearing the exams. You can either do them before you go for your flying abroad, or you can do them after you go for your flying abroad. Either ways, it's absolutely legal. However, the better way is to always clear your exams first and then go for your flying. The reason for that is, number 1 is recency. So to get a CPL license, there are certain requirements. You should have flown certain number of hours in the last 6 months. You should have flown certain number of hours in the last 1 year. Now if you do your flying from abroad and you come back to India, you might not be able to clear the exams in the first attempt, and as a result your recency will lapse. So you'll have to again go abroad, do the recency requirements and then come back to India, or maybe fly in India. Either ways, it's always a better option to clear your exams before you go abroad for your flying. Before we continue, let's talk about the giveaway. So these speakers are by Zap. Zap is an Indian company, and these guys produce these awesome sounding, waterproof, shockproof, wireless Bluetooth speakers. So this one that I have here is the Zap Hydra Extreme. It's a waterproof speaker, IP65 rated, and it has 15 hours of battery life, and it sounds pretty good. And what I have here, the other one is the Zap Darkstar. It's a smaller speaker which is also waterproof, also shockproof, and still sounds pretty amazing. So in case you guys want these speakers, you can follow me on Instagram. I'll be having a aviation related quiz on Instagram in my stories. So keep checking out my stories, and I'll be selecting winners, or basically whoever answers all the questions correctly. I'll be selecting random people from them, and I'll be posting these speakers to all of you. So do follow me on Instagram. The link is in the description, or you can just search for Tapshi, TAPSHI on Instagram, and you'll find me there. So do participate in the quiz, and all the best. Also, there's a small difference in the exams. If you do your exams before you go, you have to clear navigation, meteorology, regulations. However, if you clear your exams after you come back to India, there's a different paper which is called composite. Now this composite is nothing different. It's just navigation and meteorology combined into one single paper. So when you come back, you still have to study all the 3 subjects. And basically what you're omitting or what you're avoiding is technical general. Now technical general is one paper you have to clear if you're flying in India, But abroad jaoge, you don't have to clear technical general, and it is quite a big subject, like the topics are vast. So yeah, you can avoid that exam if you go abroad for your flying. So now that you're done with your exams, you cleared all of them, you aced them, the next thing is to choose a flying school. Now we have multiple options in terms of which countries you can go to for your flying. The most common country that people go to is the United States of America, USA. Second most common would be Canada. Other options which are commonly chosen are South Africa and New Zealand. You can also go to Australia, you can even go to Far East, you can go to Europe also, but these places are extremely costly and it does not honestly make a lot of sense. So if you ask me for my recommendation, I would recommend either go to US, Canada, South Africa or New Zealand. Now each of these countries have their own advantages and disadvantages. I'll make another video telling you all the detail about all of this, but I'll right now just give you a small overview. United States is most commonly chosen because one, it's convenient, it's a great place to stay in, and also the flying schools are numerous. You have a huge number of flying schools out there. The cost is pretty much same as India. It's gonna cost you about 35 to 40 lakhs depending on where you go. Canada is also a great option because it is cheaper. The thing with Canada is the flying out there is cheap, and you again have a huge number of options in terms of flying school. The one option which is considered a little less is South Africa. South Africa is, believe me, a great place to fly in. The flying schools are great out there and the cost is very cheap. You can get your CPL license for as less as 30 lakh rupees, everything inclusive, from South Africa. Not a lot of people choose South Africa because they don't know about it, but yeah, if you're going abroad, South Africa can be a very good option. New Zealand, on the other hand, is again a great place to live in. There are quite a number of flying schools, but the thing is, New Zealand is extremely costly. It's gonna cost you easily about 45 lakh rupees to get your CPA license. So the thing with all of these countries is, when you go abroad, you have to fly there, you have to meet their requirements. So just like Indian DGC has a few requirements to get a license, these other countries, they also have their own governing bodies which have their own requirements. So for example, let's say you go to the US. If you go to US, you have to get your medical done in US. You also have to clear the exams out there in US, and then fly and get a US license or a FAA license. Now when you bring that license to India along with other documents, you submit it to DGCA, and on the basis of that US license, Indian DGCA will issue you an Indian CPL license. A lot of you also think Philippines is a good option because it's very cheap. Believe me, Philippines is not a good option. Never ever go to Philippines, because Philippines was in the bad books of DGCA. There was a lot of coach-puch going on and a lot of fake stuff going on in Philippines. So as a result, I honestly would not recommend going to Philippines at all. Another common question is, what happens to the RTR exam? So if you fly in India, you have to clear the RTR exam. The thing with RTR is, if you go to any of the Commonwealth countries, so there's this group which is called Commonwealth countries, of which Canada, New Zealand and South Africa are a part. So if you go to any of these Commonwealth countries for your flying, you do not have to clear RTR when you come back to India. You only have to submit the papers and you get your FRTOL license, and which is basically good enough for your flying. Also, when you come back to India, you have to give your checks. Now basically, so let's say you cleared your exams, you went to the US, you finished your flying in the US, you got a FAA license, and then you come back to India. Now Indian DGCA wants you to give certain checks at an Indian flying school. So what you will do is, you will come back to India, you will talk to a flying school in India, and you'll have to go there and give your checks. These checks are somewhere about 8 to 8.5 hours of flying, and that's another about 2 lakh rupees of cost. And once you clear these checks, only then can you submit your papers to DGCA, and on the basis of those checks, you get your Indian license. Another common question is, do you have to clear exams of the country to which you're going to? And the answer is yes. You're basically going abroad to get a license from another country. So you have to meet all the requirements of that country. Now the thing is, Indian DGCA exams, the theoretical exams, are pretty tough. They're like amongst the toughest in the world. And if you go to other places, the exams are comparatively much easier. New Zealand and South Africa do have also comparable exams to India, but USA and Canada, they have very simple exams. So if you've cleared your Indian DGCA exams, believe me, US and Canada exams are going to be super duper easy for you. Another common question is, can I get an instructor rating abroad and work as an instructor in one of these countries? And the answer is always obviously yes, you can. It depends on what you want from life. If you want to come back to India, if you only want to fly in India, then obviously you'll take the license from that country and you come back. However, if you want to continue out there, you can always get a work permit and you can join as an instructor at either the flying school where you learned or some other place. So to recap the whole process, the first thing is you become eligible to be a pilot. So maths and physics in class 12th. Then you get your medicals done, class 2 and class 1 medicals. Once you're medically fit, then you clear your Indian DGCA exams, which is navigation, meteorology and regulations. Once those exams are done, then you go abroad to any of the countries which I mentioned. You choose a good flying school out there and you start flying and you get a license from that country. Once you get that country's license, you then come back to India and you do your checks in India, which will be done at a flying school in India itself. Once you're done with those checks, you then submit all your documents to DGCA and at the end of it, you get an Indian DGCA CPL license. So that is the basic, most cost effective and the fastest way to get your CPL license from abroad. If you guys still have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. I usually try and reply to as many messages as I can. And I'm really sorry if I have not been able to reply to your messages. I really try hard to reply to everyone. Also, if you have any doubts, you can always also type them in the comments. I do read the comments, I'll note them down and I'll answer them in some other video. So I hope you guys got to learn something. I hope it brought some clarity on how you can get your license from abroad. I'll try and make another video on the different flying schools abroad, and so if you want that video, let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. That's pretty much about it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.